Hello, today I wanted to share another one of my little journal illustrations with you. And this is probably depicting one of the things I've worked the absolute hardest on over the last year and a half-ish, and it's still a process. I know boundaries have become almost kind of a cliche thing to talk about now because there's so many videos everywhere about boundaries, and then there's some people that kind of weaponize the idea of boundaries to be like, I don't have time for you, like you're violating my boundaries by having a bad day or by asking me for help, or like, you know, this hyper individualizing where it's like, no, I need to have boundaries. I need to protect my peace. I'm never going to help anyone ever. And that's not good either. But I do have to admit, I, without realizing it, kind of developed some hyper empathy going on for the past couple years that was actually causing me a lot of serious problems. And so this is just my expression of the process I've been going through. I'm kind of like a little plant sitting here, and I'm in a clear glass jar so I can see everything around me. I can understand what is going on, but there's that glass, there's that protective barrier. But the thing about glass is it's clear, so the light inside and, you know, my desire maybe to reach out and connect with people and help those that need it, that light can still get through. So you see it kind of illuminating the dark background. I got some scary green eyeballs back there. It kind of, what I was thinking of actually when I did that is in Snow White when she's in the spooky forest at the beginning and gets lost. I always loved the old Disney movies for the illustrations, especially as a kid. So that's a very strong memory for me. I own that VHS. But yeah, that light is still getting out, and I am painting. I have my brush, and the colors from the paint are kind of flowing everywhere like a liquid flowing out from the top like a river. My thoughts, feelings, everything is growing out of the top like flowers. So there are things getting out, but I'm still protected. And that to me is kind of my expression of what boundary setting has done for me personally. I do deal with anxiety and depression to an extent, which I think is why I never wanted to seem like I was rebuffing someone that was struggling with mental health or otherwise and that really needed someone to talk to. I'm lucky to have a small group of core friends now, but I have gone through points in my childhood where I felt like I didn't really have a lot of friends, and so I just never wanted anyone else to be in that boat. But one of two things was happening. Either I was doing everything I could do to make myself physically, emotionally, mentally available to another person that needed it, to the point that I was getting completely run down and couldn't be effective for either myself or anyone else at that point, or I was letting my empathy for them kind of allow them to bulldoze me and kind of get away with honestly being not a very good friend. And, you know, I just was making excuses for that behavior by saying, oh, well, they're struggling, they can't help it. And so that was putting me in a position where my own stuff that I have too was just getting way worse. And so I was making them feel better, but I'm over here now having a crisis and feeling really, really, really dangerously awful. And so obviously not good. The other thing that would happen is I would start to feel resentful and get so frustrated and almost kind of start blaming these other people for how I was feeling. Like, oh, this, I think I actually said this out loud to someone in my life once. Or I was like, oh my gosh, you are just like a black cloud following me around. Like, God forbid I ever get to have a day where I'm happy, because you will just find something to complain about, you know, and so on and so forth. But is it really their fault that I'm feeling crappy? Like, I mean, yes, to an extent, like no one wants to listen to a complainer all day. That is unpleasant, obviously. But, you know, it's not really anyone's fault how their input makes you feel. And it's, you know, because you can choose to shut it down. You can always choose to say, hey, I don't have space for this right now, which I was not doing. Also, as annoying as it may be, someone that's already obviously not feeling very well is telling them basically like, oh my gosh, you're ruining my day, going to really help. Like, no, that's not helping them. That's not helping either of us. That probably feels really bad. And although it may have a sliver of truth in it, it's not helpful. I think that's one of the most valuable things I've come to understand, definitely over this past year, is that we are all our own individual containers. Some people I've heard use like a candle flame analogy, like we're all, our own little candle flames under glass, but I am kind of nervous around fire. Like, I don't even like to light my own birthday candles. Like, I don't really like fire. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So that analogy was kind of like, to me. If we're talking about the elements, I guess I'm more of an earth person than a fire person. I was watching the new Avatar show recently, so I guess the elements are on my mind. So this analogy fit a little bit better for me with the flower vase. So we are all our own individual containers, but that doesn't mean we have to have walls up. That doesn't mean our containers have to be opaque where no one can see us and we can't see through to anyone else. We can still reach out. The top is open. The glass is clear. There are still ways for us to reach out and touch another person, help another person, but we still have that little bit of containment of like, no, this is me, so that ourselves don't all intertwine into each other, so our roots don't get mixed together and tangled to the point where we can't tell where one plant begins and one ends. We're still our own individuals while we go through life together. And I love these super bold watercolors. I actually painted outside today, so I wanted something more portable. So I used my Viviva Colorsheets, which are portable little books of watercolor pigments on paper. Super easy to just slip in your bag or pocket. So I will put a link to those in the description. And I also used some Staedler metallic paint pens to kind of add some little details at the end. When it comes to all the dark, scary things out there and stressful things, there's so much pressure, I think, on everyone collectively on Earth right now. It's just really hard. And I think the best way to not have our own light get completely extinguished is to remember the simple fact that we are our own separate container, but that does not mean we can't shine a light on others still. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more art demos, thoughts on life, a little bit of everything, just a celebration of creativity in general, then be sure to subscribe. Thank you.